What's going on? Oh boy. Here. Awesome. Okay. Hello, everybody. I'm so happy that you could hop on. Let me just pin myself here. Spotlight. That's what I want to do. And get my other junk in order. Okay. I'm in order. So I want to share with you guys throughout my coaching journey, and even when I went through coaching myself, and I still do, but I went through a specific program. And when I went through that program, I realized that there were a few foundational things that people had to go through, people had to do work on in order to actually have lasting transformative change in their life. And I learned this through clients I worked with. I learned this through talking to other coaches. I learned this through talking to other entrepreneurs that had gone through the process themselves. And I want to share that with you guys today. I will tell you that if you were to go and pay for this, it would cost you thousands of dollars. And that's just the way it is. I'm going to give it to you for free today because I want you to be able to just go ahead and execute the ultimate cheat codes to living your fullest, most successful life in the way that you define success. Everybody defines success differently. Some people define success as being fulfilled and happy, and other people's define success as having nice cars, having big houses, having a lot of money in the bank. And some people define success as having all of those things combined. And that's really where I'm going with this is I want to be able to bring all of those things together for you so that you can really achieve your wildest dreams, the biggest things that you want to achieve in life. And I know that both of you are in online marketing, and this is going to radically change your life. So who am I? You guys know me, but my name is Devin. I am a mom of two amazing little critters, little human beings. They're a bit older than they are in that picture now. My daughter's 13 now. My son is 11. And actually, my daughter will be 14 this month. I am a speaker. I love to get up on stage and run my mouth. And when I run my mouth, give everything I have and pour out into my audience because I really want to bring value to you guys. I am a coach. I coach individuals. I coach women primarily, entrepreneurs, executives, and moms that just really want to be better in life. They want to have a better experience in their life. I went through a period of time in my life, you guys, you guys know a lot of this, but I was really struggling. I was a single mom. I'm not a single mom anymore. Praise God. But I was a single mom. I was struggling. I was broke and disgusted, all the things. I had the mindset of this is going to come off harsh, but it is what it is. I had a loser mindset. I had a very fixed mindset, and I really didn't believe that things were possible for me. I didn't believe that success was possible for me. I didn't believe that fulfillment was possible for me. And even though I thought those things, even though I thought, oh, I can do this, and I can be the chain breaker in my family, and I can be the first one, and I can be whatever they tell you when you go to those big conventions, it's all possible, yes. But having a surface level belief and having a deep rooted belief are two very different things. And the surface level belief comes from big events, and that deep rooted transformational belief comes from the everyday work that you have to put in to be your best self. So there's a reason that the top 5%, I'm going to move my little head over here to the other side. There's a reason that the top 5% of people are in the top 5%. It's because they will do what 95% of people won't. Because if it were easy, everyone would do it, right? So the truth is, we could have a far better, far more beautiful society if everyone in it, or even just a larger percentage than 5%, put these thoughts, strategies, and tools to work in their daily lives. My spouse doesn't support me. No wonder. And this might sting, but no wonder. You don't support yourself. Our first reaction is to shy away from responsibility and find a scapegoat. And I'm not attacking you. I'm telling you the truth that no one else will because I care. And this is a shell that has to be cracked in order to absorb any information moving forward in this masterclass. You are at 100% responsibility for your life. Not blame, that's different. Responsibility for the part that you play or have played up to this moment in your life. I should be able to figure this out on my own. How many of you felt that, right? So the shame trap here is that believing that needing help means that you're weak, broken, or even less capable than everyone else. It's simply not true. The reality is you need support. It's human. grow and deeper when you're willing to let somebody guide you through what you can't see for yourself. If I were really called to do this, I wouldn't be struggling. Did I misunderstand? I cannot tell you how many times I felt this feeling is very real. You had a vision. You had an exciting moment where you're like, wait a second, my whole life could be altered. I could be somebody completely different. I could elevate my life. I could elevate my family for generations to come. And then you start the work with all that excitement and you realize, holy crap, this is hard. This is not easy. Did I misunderstand you, God? Did I not understand what you said? Am I wrong? Did you even call me to this? Who am I? What am I doing? Why am I here? The shame trap is that feeling like struggling means you must be doing something wrong or that you heard God wrong. But that's not true. Struggle doesn't disqualify you. It proves that you're walking into new territory. And I just made a post recently. If you feel this way, it's wise to bring in reinforcements. It's wise to bring in wise counsel. It's wise to bring in people that have been there. It's wise to bring in a coach that will help you walk through this season. I'll hire a coach once I get my life together or when I hit X amount of dollars. Then I can afford it. Then I'll be worthy of help once I have everything together. We can all take a second to laugh because, girls, we are never going to have our lives together. It ain't never going to happen. It's the goalpost that keeps moving. It's the goalpost that keeps moving. There's always going to be something else. What makes you stand out is how you're able to deal with that something else. So thinking that you have to be ready or healed enough or in a better place before you can even deserve help is a lie straight from the enemy's mouth. Okay. Coaching isn't for the perfect. It's for the willing. You don't have to clean the house before you hire a cleaner. You don't have to be clean before you go to the Lord. You go, you hire, you do, and then you become. Other people are worse off than me. She's got a to-do list a mile long. And you might be looking at your life thinking, oh, I don't have it as bad as Sally down the street. I don't really need the help. She needs the help. Minimizing your own struggles because you're comparing pain to somebody else's pain or thinking that your needs aren't urgent enough to justify investing in yourself, it's a lie. It's a shame trap. Just because you're good at coping doesn't mean you're thriving. You deserve support too. Just because you stayed quiet doesn't mean you're healed. Got it? If I do this and fail, I'll prove I'm not good enough. I want you to look at the picture. I want you to see where she's sitting. She's sitting in her closet. It's a mess. She's tired of putting on a perfect face. She's tired of acting like everything's okay. And she knows, or she's afraid of, showing everybody the mess in the private closet. She's afraid of showing people that she's not where they think she is mentally, physically, emotionally, spiritually, avoiding the risk of failure by avoiding investment altogether because it feels safer not to try. Because if you try and fail, then you're proving the most painful truth is that you're not good enough. At least that's what you think, but that's a shame trap. Growth isn't about guaranteeing success. It's in a straight line. It's about committing to the journey, even when it's messy. So there's 4 foundational cheat codes that you need to become the hero in your life. Number 1, value and goal alignment. Number 2, overcoming obstacles. Number 3, resilience. And number 4, smart goals and a plan. And I encourage you to take notes. Elizabeth, I love that you're taking notes. If I move too fast for you, don't stress. I'm going to send you out the replay and you'll be able to go back and take notes at your leisure, okay? So number 1, values. Values are what's important to us. They determine how we feel after we do something. They motivate us on a deeper level than the car, than the house, than the income. They truly motivate us to move in a certain direction. And misaligned values cause burnout, confusion, self-doubt, and eventually failure. They make up your belief system. It shapes your attitude towards life. And without clarity on your values, you'll keep chasing validation instead of fulfillment. Let me move my little floating bar here because, again, it's in my way. Okay, so if your values and goals do not match up, you're going to end up at odds with yourself. This is called cognitive dissonance, okay? You're going to end up confused, frustrated, and like I said, eventually quitting. Cognitive dissonance is the feeling or an internal pull of two different directions that one feels when their internal state does not fit with their external state. For example, you started your business with an intention of having a huge house, nice things, and lots of success. And you worked your tail off to get there, but now you find yourself dealing with anxiety while trying to keep your family together. You discover your values instead are family and love and adventure and health and peace, not income and fame and recognition. And those things are great, but they're not your values. So, what a shame it would be to get to the end of your life and find out that you were chasing the wrong thing the whole time. So, how do you find your core values? When you know what truly matters, your goals stop feeling forced and you finally start building with purpose. So, I want you to brain dump your values 3 times. Now, at this point in this masterclass, this is where we're going to get into the nitty gritty actionable things, like the actual how to. I'm not a fan of the, ooh, go do this and you'll be amazing. Like, I want you to put boots on the ground, hand to the plow, do not look back, and move forward. Do the work. I'm giving you the work. This is what you need to do on your own to truly transform your life. And some of it might seem small and insignificant, but I'm telling you right now, my mentor Darren Hardy wrote an entire book called The Compound Effect. And he talks about the small, seemingly insignificant changes that you do that add up to a lifetime of results, a lifetime of abundance and fulfillment and peace and joy. It's in the small things that you do every single day. So, to find your core values, these are the categories that I want you to focus on. It's pretty much encompassing of your entire life, right? You see anything missing? We've got life, career, health and fitness, family, your personal growth, your relationships, your spiritual growth. That's pretty much your entire life, right? So I want you to brain dump your values in each one of these categories. It's important to note that a value is usually a single word or a very maybe 3-word phrase. That's a value. Okay. Things like happiness, integrity, honesty, hard work, mindset, love, adventure, excitement, fun, connection. Those are values. Okay. So, in each of these categories, life, career, health, family, personal growth, relationship, spirituality, I want you to brain dump 3 times each of these, all your values in each of these categories. Now, I had somebody ask me on social media in a comment one time, how do you brain dump 3 times? What does that even mean? Do you write the same list 3 times? No. You write a list of everything that comes up, just whatever comes up first. Write it down. Take a small breather, a very small, like 2-minute break. Go back to the list, and anything else that comes up, write it down. Here's why that works. Think of like a pool, like an above ground pool or a below pool, whatever, a below ground pool, whatever it is that you imagine when you think of a pool. And I want you to put hundreds of pool floaties in that pool, hundreds of them, right? Those are your thoughts. The pool is your mind. Now, if you skim the pool floaties off of the top layer, what happens? The ones that have been pushed down from the ones on top, the ones that have been pushed down now raise to the surface. That's what happens when you brain dump 3 times. You're skimming off the top thoughts and making room for the ones that have been pushed down to raise to the surface. And then you write those down. And then you do it again. Skim off those ones. And then the next group comes to the top. This is why you do it 3 times, to make sure that you are completely empty. All right. So for the same categories, I want you to ask yourself, in the context of life, in the context of spirituality, in the context of income, in the context of family, can you remember a time when you were totally motivated? And whatever comes up, write down the name of the feeling that you experienced just before you were motivated. So in the context of life, is there a time when you ever felt totally motivated? Yes, I did. After I had my daughter, I was totally motivated to be the best mom possible. Okay, great. What is the feeling that I experienced right before that? Compassion. nurturing. Those are also values. Once you have a list of words for each category, put them in order from the most to least important to you. You're putting them in a hierarchy. And review this list by asking yourself, is number one more important than number two? If not, switch the order. Then continue on. Is number two more important than number three? If not, switch the order. If it is, then keep it. Move on. Is number three more important than number four? Is number four more important than number five? So on and so forth until you have a hierarchy of your values. And I want you to rewrite the list in the final order that you have, and then focus on the top five in each category. These are your core values. Okay? These are the ones that deep down will motivate you. Okay. So now that you have your list of core values, I am going to teach you how to overcome any obstacle that you come across. Now, both of you have been introduced to the personal development world, so you know that it's not necessarily what you do out here to overcome the obstacle, it's what goes on inside. Because out here is a byproduct of in here, okay? So it's less about your physical actions, and it's more about your mental preparation and your emotional resilience. This is where I lose a lot of people with those excuses that I showed you at the beginning of the slideshow. This process that I'm going to teach you exposes the truth that you need, not the truth that you necessarily want. It's the one that will create true transformation in your life every single day. And you will do it every single day. And eventually it's going to become so second nature to you that you don't even realize you're doing it. And that's when you've hit that next level of mental transformation. You're going to train yourself to feel worthy of your calling, capable of achieving it, motivated to start it, and inspired enough to keep going, no matter what shows up. You will be able to overcome anything you're faced with, including imposter syndrome, the fear of messing up on stage, that quiet whisper at night when you lay down to go to sleep and you click off your light, and you snuggle up to your pillow, and you hear that whisper that say, you're not good enough. You're never going to make this. What are you doing? Yeah, tomorrow's a new day, but like you're going to do the same thing you did today. You're going to slack off. It's not going to be any different. I'm going to teach you how to silence that voice. Self-imposed limitations, AKA limiting beliefs. They may not have come from you, but they took root in you. They're mental loops that keep you operating at mid-level. Just enough to say, I'm trying, but never enough to be able to say, I'm doing. 2 Corinthians 10:5 says to take our thoughts captive. And Philippians 4:8 says to focus on the good, pure, praiseworthy, etc. Modern psychology teaches to inspect your thoughts and focus on the positive possibilities and realities. I love it when science and scripture comes together. I love it when science proves scripture. So how do your thoughts shape your reality? Let me walk you through a little process. Now, this image came from my free download Limited to Limitless workbook. If you haven't gotten it yet, then I highly suggest it. But you get a stimulus. A stimulus is anything outside of you. Stimulus for me right now is my fan is going on over there. I got light coming in from this window and birds chirping. I have my dog snoring next to me right here. I ran out of tissues. So I have a roll of toilet paper sitting here to blow my nose, okay? Because the eye and the runny nose, all the things, right? So those are all stimuli. Those enter into us through our senses: sight, hearing, smell, taste, touch, right? So I can feel the wind from the fan. I can hear the birds outside. I can hear my dog snoring. I can see this light right here. They come in through our senses. Once they come in, they form what's called an internal representation. An internal representation is really just your belief. It's the experience that you assign to any situation that you're in. Notice I said the experience that you assign. That internal representation directly impacts your behavior, which impacts your results. What do you mean by this, Devin? I'm glad you asked. Let me show you. So I want you to meet Jordan. She is a passionate solopreneur. Launched her business to make a meaningful impact. Despite her skills and dedication, she was haunted by a teacher's comment from years ago saying that she was really only meant for a 9-to-5. And this saying wasn't meant with malicious intent. It was just, wow, Jordan, you're going to be a really great employee. Yay. Though unintended, those words planted a deep seed of self-doubt. On top of that, she often heard her family say things like, no one in this family does stuff like that. She watched her parents settle for jobs that they didn't like just to keep food on the table. If Jordan's like me, she watched her father sell things out of the house to make sure that they could pay their electricity bill. Just to sell things, just so they could pay their bills after working 60 hours a week. Come on, right? So every sales call that Jordan went through and every opportunity became a mental battle for her. She constantly compared herself to others, hesitating to pitch, questioning her self-worth, despite being fully capable. And her belief that she wasn't good enough sabotaged her growth. It didn't affect her business. It didn't just affect her business. It shaped how she showed up in life. So I highlighted a few things here. Stimulus. Somebody saying you're only meant for a 9 to 5. Internal representation. Self-doubt. She's only meant for a 9 to 5. Another stimulus. No one in the family does stuff like this. Watching her parents sell things, watching her parents settle for jobs they didn't like. Another stimulus. They come in, they create this belief that because she came from the family, we don't do stuff like that. Because she came from her parents and she saw them settle for jobs that they don't like, she's going to settle. She has self-doubt. These are the internal representations. Now, those internal representations show up in her behaviors. She's afraid to tell people what she does. She doesn't pitch her product. She doesn't pitch her ideas. She doesn't even share her business model on social media. She doesn't share it with people she meets on the street. She doesn't share it with new friends because she's afraid of what they're going to say. She's constantly comparing herself to others, leading to shame and stress. You see how this all works together. Whatever you believe up here is what you're going to portray out here. All right. Oops. There we go. So how do you find and eliminate those beliefs? So mental mastery isn't just positive thinking. It's the radical responsibility over what you let run your mind. Okay? Radical responsibility over what you let run your mind. There are 5 steps I'm going to outline here. Okay? This is the process that on your own you would take to find and eliminate those beliefs that we were talking about. So number 1 is recognizing the situation. I want you to recall a time where you have had anger, fear, doubt, guilt, or hurt. And this could be anything from meeting new people to calling a dentist to make an appointment, to an experience like the one outlined in the story before. Now imagine that situation from a snow globe perspective. Remove yourself from it. If it's easier for you to picture it, I want you to think of yourself 30,000 feet in the air and you're looking at it from the outside in. When I say snow globe perspective, I mean pretend you're holding it in your hand and you're looking at it like you're looking at a little figurine inside of a snow globe. Observe it from the outside. If it helps you to think, like I said, of 30,000 feet, watch it from above and do it. What's the situation? The whole thing. And then I want you to write it down. You don't have to do this right now, but this is what you're going to start doing on a mental level. You're going to be writing it down now. But once you get good at this, you are quite literally going to be able to go through the process in your brain in a split second. And your brain is going to know how to respond to that. Number 2 is finding the trigger. The trigger is like a micro event within the situation. So while observing that snow globe situation, look for one thing within that situation that happened immediately before any negative emotions that you had. What significant thing in that situation triggered your emotional state? And there are other emotions that can be linked to these main 5, like frustration, embarrassment, shame, pain, anything like that. Okay. Anger, fear, doubt, guilt, and hurt are the 5 main ones, but most negative emotions come from those. They're just different iterations of it. Okay. So for the trigger, it's a micro thing within the situation. Okay. Number 3 is noticing the emotion that you feel. What specific emotion initially presents itself? Write it down. Number 4 is uncovering the thought. This part can be tricky. Our minds are typically on repeat. Most of the thoughts that you have aren't even yours. They were implanted by somebody else. Not to mention 90% of them are on repeat from the day before and the day before and the day before, and 80% of those are negative. No wonder people aren't where they want to be, because if they just go with the flow, their minds are programmed and wired to think negatively. So these repeat thoughts often slip by unnoticed unless we're paying close attention. Additionally, our minds like to take the path of least resistance, meaning if this particular thought that you have is painful, which it is because it's inciting negative emotion, You're likely only going to feel the emotion and won't be aware of the thought because your brain will immediately sweep it under the rug. No, that's too painful. I don't want to think about that. Nope, we're going to close it in the locker. Nope, we're not going to open the closet because you guys don't want to see the mess that's in there. But the thing is that you shut these things away, but you're still left with the emotions. And that's the carnage that these thoughts are causing in your life. You're still left with them because you haven't resolved the thought. So you might not see the thought. You might not see the rotten food in the fridge, but you can smell it. Does that make sense? It's still there. So you want to ask yourself, what's the first thought that passes through your head when you notice that trigger? That's the thought you need to deal with. That's the limiting belief. And number 5 is mapping the origin of the thought. And I'm going to walk you guys through an example of this. So let me just back up to number 1. Here we go, number 1. All right. So for me, I had a fear of rejection, you guys. I was afraid to go out and tell people what I was doing with my life, what I'm doing with my business. I was afraid to tell people my offer. I was afraid to share my product. I was afraid to share my coaching services. Okay. So that is the situation. For me, I'm faced with sharing my business. And I'm like, okay, that's the situation. Now the trigger within that is the actual sharing of the information. Okay. So it's not everything that surrounds it. The trigger is actually sharing it, looking at somebody face to face and saying, this is what I do. Okay. The emotion that caused in me was fear and embarrassment. So I had to uncover the thought. I'm like, wait a second, what's the first thing that goes through my head when I think about doing this? When I did this for the first time, and I really sat and I was like, what is the first thought that causes these feelings? You know what came up? They are not going to like me. They are not going to like me. It didn't have anything to do with what I was offering. It had nothing to do with my product. It had nothing to do with my offer. It had everything to do with me and my perception of what they were going to think of me, not my offer. So you uncover the thought. Like I said, it's painful. They aren't going to like me. That's painful. That's not something people want to think. Oh, I'm at 30 minutes already. I got to freaking move. All right. So then you're going to map the origin of thought. For me, I thought back and I mapped this origin of the thought, and it came from when I was younger. I was rejected by some friends that weren't really friends, and it was in a really embarrassing way. They aren't going to like me. So you go back and you resolve that thought. That's how you find the thought. And then you replace it with truth, like the actual truth, not what you're feeling, but the actual truth. Okay. If you need help finding the actual truth, there's 2 things that you can do. Number 1, look for it in God's word because it's there. Number 2, find somebody to speak that truth into your life. No, this is a very surface level process. It will help you discover your surface limiting beliefs, but most people have deeply seated beliefs that they're unaware of and cannot be found without proper guidance. Okay, stop my share real quick. Pause share. Screen sharing is paused. Okay. Do I have permission real quick to share what I'm doing? Is that okay? After I just got done talking about fear of sharing what I have and what I offer people. Is it okay with you guys if I share what I'm doing? Cool. Awesome. I appreciate that. Let me resume share. Okay. So I am offering, this says 7, it's actually 8, an 8-week mind power breakthrough. You guys have probably heard of Steph and Shay, right? Steph and Shay are the #1 resilience coaches in the world. They did retreats for Ani. They work with Fortune 100 companies, and they worked with me individually. And they taught me not only how to get through these things on my own, but they also taught me how to walk other people through the process. Okay. And I've been doing it now for a few years. And I'm offering an 8-week mind power breakthrough. You're going to identify and disconnect your running parachutes. These are the thoughts, the traumas, the patterns that are quietly sabotaging your goals. You're going to be able to rewire your mindset for elite performance, resilience, and fulfillment. You align your principles, your passion, and your purpose for daily flow. Unlock the psychology of goal achievement and mental toughness. And you join a powerful community of like-minded women who are done playing small. I have to tell you, this is not a program for people that want to take their time. This is not a program for people that are like, I'm just going to do a little bit here and a little bit there, and I'll get there eventually. That's not what this is for. This is for women who are done playing small. This is for women who are like, I want radical change and I want it fast. That's what this is. So what are you going to receive? This is a lot to say, so I'm not going to say it all, but feel free to take a screenshot. What are you going to receive? Insights, personal mentoring, tailored resilience strategies, immersive learning environments. You're going to get comprehensive toolkits for personal development. You're going to get strategies to use by top performers to optimize your mindset. You are going to be able to identify and understand personal barriers of success, how to release emotional and psychological blocks, cutting edge productivity tools, deep understanding of the psychology behind setting and achieving significant goals. I'm not talking about losing 5 pounds. Yes, this will work for that too, but this is a program that is going to help you achieve your most significant goals. What are you going to achieve? Elevated social status, reinforced personality identity, increased personal power, increased influence for outcomes, lifestyle enhancements, greater professional respect and credibility, stronger personal and professional relationships, enhanced sense of control over the direction and outcomes of your life, more fulfilling and balanced life as goals and daily actions become more aligned with your personal values. You get long-term lifestyle improvements with habits and routines that promote sustained peak performance, and you get an expanded network and community of support. Okay? So you can scan to book a discovery call. We can just get on. We'll talk for 30 minutes. We'll figure out your goals. And if this is going to be a good program for you, feel free to scan this. Each week, we're going to break through another layer, limiting beliefs, emotional stronghold, misaligned goals. We're going to rebuild your internal system to match the woman that God has called you to be. It's like upgrading your operating system, like your software. If you were a computer, hardware is what you're actually physically doing. Your software is what runs the show, right? So you're upgrading your software here. It's not a theory. It's tools, strategies, mentorship, and it works. It's all virtual, and it's 8 weeks. After the 8-week transformation, you're not left alone. I'm going to continue coaching you in the second phase, where we are going to anchor this new version of yourself into daily action and results. So feel free to scan the code if you want to. It'll be down in the corner if you don't get a chance. I'm going to keep going because I want to keep giving you guys this goodness, and we're on a time crunch. Cool. So resilience. This is like a buzzword right now, resilience, but it's really an underrated superpower. It really is. So what's next? After you align your goals and your values, after you learn how to challenge every single thought and take it captive and replace it, what do you do then? You move on to your most resilient self, right? The Apostle Paul said, we can rejoice too when we run into problems and trials, for we know they are good for us. We know they are good for us. They help us to learn to endure. And endurance develops strength of character. And character strengthens our confident expectation of salvation. That verse from the Apostle Paul is describing resilience. We are exposed to trials so we can learn to overcome. That develops a strength in us that cannot be developed by other means. You got to go through it. And in order to go through it gracefully, you have to upgrade your software. The closer you get to breakthrough, the closer you get to your goal, the closer you get to your truest purpose, you will be hit with equal opposition. You guys have both heard it, and every level has another devil, right? Overcoming one stressful situation opens you up to another one. Equally true is this: there is no opposition for those who are not progressing and advancing. The mere fact that you are in a valley means that you are on the journey to the mountain. I heard a quote one time that said, and I can't remember who it was by, but it said, ships are safe in the harbor, but that's not why ships are made. So you might be safe where you're at, but I believe that you're made for more. Resilience doesn't just show up. What does? Opportunity to be resilient. In every grieving moment, in every spotless night or sleepless night, in every missed promotion or failed entrepreneurial journey or failed company or moving to another company or trying a new thing or digital marketing or whatever it is, in every overwhelming parenting moment, in every tear, there is a silver lining. There's something bigger at work, something for your good. So I'm going to give you some self-techniques for building resilience. There is a lot of words on this page. I'm going to fly through this. You probably are going to want to screenshot this slide, okay? And the next couple. So Mind Power State, it's a 2-minute technique. It is going to help you tap into positive emotion, improve your decision-making skills, improve your solution finding, and help support healthy heart rate and blood pressure. I use this when I'm at work on patients. I tell them to do this. Okay. You'll follow these steps. You basically are going to look forward, look up 45 degrees, but keep your face forward. Zone out. You guys ever zone out? Maybe not intentionally. You just kind of, people are snapping in front of your face. That's what I want you to do. I want you to zone out. You can't really see, but you're just going to zone out. I got to put these back on. Sorry. My eyes like watering because of this light over here. When you do this, you're going to bring your hands to the side of your head, just inside your peripheral, just so you can just see them. And you're going to wiggle your fingers while zoning out on that state. I want you to focus on wiggling your fingers and focus on seeing them in your peripheral vision without actually moving your sight from that one spot. This opens up your mind. I know it sounds crazy, but it opens up your peripheral vision and opens you up to creative thought, which helps with solution finding, decision making, problem solving, positive emotion. Okay. While you're doing it, why don't you throw in box breathing? Do you guys know what box breathing is? It's breathing in for 4 seconds or however long you want, holding it for that amount of time, breathing out for that amount of time, and holding it out for that amount of time on repeat. This helps lower your blood pressure as well and brings your body to a nice homeostasis, fully oxygenated. All right. Physical activity, just literally moving. Go move. Regular exercise, dancing, it helps release negative emotion that we keep trapped in our bodies. Muscle tension, lower back pain, shoulder and upper back pain, that all comes from heightened levels of emotion and stress, can be soothed and loosened with movement. And as you improve your circulation, oxygen and endorphins also go up. Non-linear journaling. You might not have heard of this. Linear journaling is like I'm writing on the lines of a page. Non-linear journaling is just writing in whatever direction you feel like. I know that sounds crazy. Turn your journal on the side. Write this way. Like literally write in a circle, spiraling inward. Write in whatever direction you want. It doesn't have to make sense. Non-linear journaling, let me find it. Journaling with a twist, literally, write in squiggles or vertical lines, whatever way your hand takes you. This opens the creative outlet for you to get your emotions out and onto paper. It opens up the creative side, emotional side of your brain. It's going to help free up space in your mind so that you can be more focused on the tasks at hand. Okay. So mastering your reframe, huge one. Reframing your life allows you to see the good in everything. Mastering your reframe requires you to look for the good through your negative emotions, through them, meaning you're still going to feel them, but being able to find the good in them. That's a superpower. Okay. So what's the trick? You look, have you guys ever have you ever been to like an optical illusion place or seen like those images that just look like bad wallpaper? Does that make sense? You can't see anything in them. It's just like noise on a paper, but there's supposedly supposed to be an image in there somewhere. You're like, where is it? The trick to these is looking through the image. Devin, you can't look through the paper. You're right. But you can do the mind power state and allow your eyes to zone out and just lose focus. That is looking through the image. This is why I like the mind power state, because it does this in your life. You get to look through the negative emotions and actually see the big picture. Okay. So reframing your past negative experiences. This is a process that you can do on your own. So close your eyes, imagine yourself at this event, whatever event it is that you have negative emotions about. Close your eyes, in your mind, jump into the air. You're going to fly way up 30,000 feet above the event. See yourself in third person, like you're watching it all transpire below you. While you're looking, look for the silver lining from a detached perspective, from a non-biased perspective. Look for the silver lining. Look for the lesson. Make sure it's positive and make sure it's for you. Once you have the positive reframe, the purpose of the negative event, write it down to solidify it. Okay, creating SMART goals. So now you know how, listen, you've learned a lot. Okay, you've learned a lot. You have learned how to find your core values, how to align them with your goals, how to fight any obstacle with your mind. You have learned how to build resilience, and now you're going to learn how to actually set goals. They need to be smart. What does that mean? Specific, measurable, achievable, relevant, time bound. They need to actually mean something. It can't be vague. If you have a vague goal, you're going to get vague results. If you have a specific goal, you will get specific results. So a SMART goal example, I will exercise 4 times a week for 30 minutes, focusing cardio and strength training in order to lose 10 pounds by July 1st. Specific, it's measurable, right? How many pounds a week are you losing? How much exercise are you doing? How long are you doing it for? You can measure it. It's achievable. This is totally achievable. To work out 4 times a week for 30 minutes? Yeah, totally achievable, right? It's relevant. It aligns with your bigger goals and values. Health and fitness, health and wellness, time management. It's aligning with your values. It's making you a better person. And it's time bound by July 1st. So specific, measurable, achievable, relevant, and time bound. You need to have all of these components to have a SMART goal. And how do you plan for goal achievement in your life? You want to start with the end in mind. The ultimate end, your obituary. Yep. You're going to write your obituary from the best case scenario. If your life turned out exactly how you want it, it doesn't matter how big it is, how do you want it to end up? What do you want to be remembered for? What do you want your kids to say about you? What are your friends saying about you? What was your greatest impact that you made? Who did you influence the most? Put these in your obituary, best case scenario. And if you start to notice those little thoughts coming up, this is too big for you. You don't have enough time to do this. You're not going to be remembered for anything grand. How are you going to reach that many people? Those are limiting beliefs. And I just taught you how to overcome them, how to reframe them, how to change them. Okay. You want to align your 3 Ps, which are your principles, your passion, and your purpose. Your principles are just your values. And you want to make sure that they are all supportive of each other. This is going to unlock consistent motivation for your mission. All right. And you're going to define your goals. So after you write your obituary, look at your obituary and write down specific goals that you have achieved at that point in your life. What are they? Spiritual, financial, familial, personal, health, all of them. All the goals that you wrote in your obituary, what are they specifically? After you've done that, I want you to come back to now and look 10 years in the future. Not to your obituary, just 10 years. What are your 10-year goals? Make sure they're smart. These are big goals. These are big. So many people vastly overestimate what they can do in a year and underestimate what they can do in 10. Ask yourself, is this big enough? Not, can I do this? I want you to ask yourself, is this big enough? Do they align with your 3 Ps, your value, your principles, your passion, and your purpose? After you have your 10-year goals, what are your 5-year goals? Or in different words, what milestones do you need to hit to get to your 10-year goals? Do they align with your 3 Ps? And then what are your 1-year goals? Or what milestones do you need to hit to get to your 5-year goals? So an example of this would be like 10 years from now, I want to, 10 years from now, I want to have a thriving speaking business where I reach millions of people a year. I'm going to travel and I'm going to have travel speaking gigs 1 time a month for 8 months out of the year, right? 5-year goals. Have I started speaking? If not, I need to have free engagements. I need to be speaking to smaller groups. I need to have my message honed in. And then my 1-year goal could be, where am I personally on myself that I can believe what I'm speaking at my 5-year goal? So that at my 5-year goal, I'm ready to ramp up to my 10-year goal. You guys see how this lines up? Cool. And I want to wrap up with this. It is not the critic who counts, not the man who points out how the strong man stumbles or where the doer of deeds could have done better. The credit belongs to the man who is actually in the arena, whose face is marred by dust and sweat and blood, who strives valiantly, who errs, who comes short again and again, because there is no effort without error or shortcoming. But who does actually strive to do the deeds, who knows great enthusiasms and great devotions, who spends himself in a worthy cause, who at the best knows in the end the triumph of high achievement, and who at the worst, if he fails, at least fails while daring greatly, so that his place shall never be with those cold and timid souls who neither know victory nor defeat. Theodore Roosevelt. I'm going to stop share. You guys learned a lot. I just literally flew through a foundational process that you need to master in order to master your mindset and your life, right? You need to have values that line clearly with your goals. Or I should say it the other way around. You need to have goals that align clearly with your values. Your values are your values, period. They can be changed if they're unhealthy, and I can walk you through that. But your values are your values. Your goals need to align with your values. Because if they do not, if you are chasing goals for a nice car and time off and being able to do whatever you want during your day, but your values are love, family time, or honesty, or relaxing, right? If you're chasing the wrong thing, if you're not lined up. So you learned that. You learned how to challenge your thoughts, how to take them captive, right? You learned what resilience is and how to build it, why it's important. It's literally the superpower that helps you overcome anything. Sorry, my eyes watering. And you also learned how to set clear, smart goals within a life plan. If you can master reframing and changing your limiting beliefs, those two things out of what I taught you, the other things will fall in line. But you must master those two. Because if you can master those two, then you can quite literally do anything. Your belief will change. You will believe that you can do anything. And because you believe it, you will act it. All right. You guys are awesome. I hope you got a lot out of this. Do you guys have any questions? I'm going to stop recording.